In a small, forgotten town nestled between dense woods and a winding river, there was an old, dilapidated house known as the Blackwood Manor. The townsfolk whispered tales of its dark past, claiming it was haunted by the spirits of the Blackwood family, who mysteriously vanished one stormy night over a century ago. One chilly autumn evening, a curious young woman named Clara, drawn by the legends, decided to explore the manor. Armed with only a flashlight and her determination, she pushed open the creaking door, which groaned in protest. The air inside was thick with dust and the scent of decay, and the floorboards creaked under her weight as she stepped inside. As Clara wandered through the dimly lit rooms, she felt an unsettling chill. The walls were lined with faded portraits of the Blackwood family, their eyes seemingly following her every move. In the parlor, she discovered an old piano, its keys yellowed and cracked. Compelled by an unseen force, she sat and began to play a haunting melody that echoed through the empty halls. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and Clara's breath became visible in the air. She glanced around, feeling an overwhelming sense of being watched. The melody seemed to awaken something in the house. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, and whispers filled the room, growing louder and more frantic. "Leave, before it's too late," the voices urged, echoing with desperation. Clara's heart raced, but her curiosity pushed her to continue. She moved deeper into the house, following the whispers that led her to a hidden staircase descending into darkness. As she descended, the air grew heavier, and the whispers transformed into anguished cries. At the bottom, Clara found herself in a damp cellar, where the walls were lined with old, rusted chains. In the center of the room lay an ancient, dust-covered mirror. Drawn to it, she approached and wiped away the grime, revealing her reflection. But the reflection staring back was not her own. Instead, it was a gaunt figure with hollow eyes, its mouth twisted in a silent scream. Clara stumbled back, horrified, as the figure raised a finger, pointing directly at her. The whispers intensified, now pleading, "Help us, break the curse." Panicking, Clara turned to flee, but the cellar door slammed shut. The cries grew louder, echoing in her mind. She frantically searched for an escape, but the shadows coalesced around her, forming into the anguished faces of the Blackwood family. They reached out, their fingers brushing against her skin, cold and clammy. Desperate, Clara remembered the melody she had played. With a newfound determination, she began to hum the tune, the notes resonating through the dark space. The spirits paused, their expressions softening as they listened. The air shimmered, and for a moment Clara felt their pain lift. But just as hope flickered, the shadows surged forward, engulfing her. The last thing Clara heard was the cacophony of wails, and then silence. Days later, the townsfolk noticed a new portrait in the Blackwood Manor, one that depicted a young woman with a hauntingly familiar face. They whispered of how the house had claimed another soul, binding her to the fate of the Blackwood family, forever trapped in the echoes of their sorrow.